What's going on, guys? Tyler here, back with another Elementor video, and today we're talking about something that could heavily influence a visitor to your website's buying decision. So if you want to convert your visitors into customers, be sure and stay tuned for this whole video. Be sure and smash that nice red looking subscribe button if you haven't already, if you're new to the channel, and join the family. Hit that bell icon and be notified of upcoming videos just like this one, as well as check out some other videos here on my channel. I've got tons of Elementor videos. If you're interested, you can take a look at those. Also, for those that are watching at the upload date on the day that I'm uploading this video, today is Cyber Monday, and Elementor's got an awesome deal going on their Plus and their Professional plans, meaning for Elementor Pro for 3 websites and Elementor Pro for 1,000 websites. So be sure and check out the link down below in the description, see what kind of price you can get for it. The personal plan is still the same there, so if you're interested, be sure and check that out. Like I said, Elementor Pro is an incredible plugin and upgrades your website so much, and for a very small price, it really has amazing power. So check out that link, see what kind of price you can get for it, and let's go ahead and jump into the video. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and just jump over here to my computer, and I want to show you guys, this is a feature that really could heavily influence your visitors into becoming customers or to leaving your page. So what I want to do is the first thing that we want to do is make the process of buying very simple for the customer. Say the customer is kind of, if it's kind of either way, they're not really sure if they should buy. We want this section to really influence them to say, okay, I have confidence to buy now. I know what I'm getting into. And we're talking about the toggle element down here. When you click and drag this in, this is what it looks like. It looks like it says toggle number 1, and then it's got some content, and then it's got toggle number 2. And you can see the arrow is pointing up here on toggle number 1. If I zoom in here, the arrow is pointing up here, and on toggle 2, it's pointing to the right. And essentially what this is doing is actually, if we change the background color of the title under style and under title, and we change the background color to red, just for the tutorial sake here, you can see what we actually have are 2 different sections. We have a toggle here that opens and closes a piece of content, and then we have another one here that does the same thing, opens and closes a piece of content. And by default, they're just all set to white, so you can't really see it really well. I just wanted to show you kind of what those 2 sections look like. But basically, we have 2 sections, and we have content that is hidden and can be opened and closed by clicking on them. All right, now back to the content side here. We can simply add items by clicking the add item there. We can just click add item, and it adds all of these toggle sections to our toggle element here. Now, why would you actually want to use this toggle? This is perfect for frequently asked questions, questions that may influence a buyer, making them just merely a visitor into a purchasing customer. Questions like, there are general questions that you might want to include, like, does your product have a money-back guarantee? What's the refund policy on it? How long does the item take to ship? Or how long is the delivery time on it? There could be specific questions for your product specifically, like what are the dimensions of the product? How often is maybe there a live stream about your product, or things like that that are specific to your product. So you'll want to think of every kind of question that the visitor might have. You want to go ahead and think of those and then go ahead and put those in here. So how to do that, you're just simply here under content, we click edit here, we're under content here, we click on the first item, under title and description we'll change this. How long is your refund policy? We'll just put that. All right, now once we've got that in here, we're going to go ahead and simply fill out this section right here with the information that we want to list. All right, perfect. So once we've got that information in there, we can simply go on to the next question. And how we do that is we click back here up on the title, and that will close that section of title and description there. And we can open the next one and begin our next question here. And if you need to duplicate questions, if you're repeating content or anything like that, you can simply click this copy button, and it will copy and create a new copy there of of that exact question. So once we have all of these questions lined out for this tutorial, I'm not actually going to go through and fill all these questions out with example content, but once we have all of these lined out, then basically we have the option to present this to a user whenever or wherever on the website that you feel that they might be hesitant, or where they might be not fully committed and they have some concerns. This is where you're going to want to present them with this. Now let's go ahead and just jump in. We have icon right over here. We can set the icon for the toggle when it's not activated. So we can click right here, this little arrow, I don't know if you can see it, but that little arrow is actually an icon. We have some recommended ones right here, but we can actually go into all icons and we can choose whichever one we want. Maybe we use the check mark here. Now you can see as we've adjusted this, now we now have check marks here on these toggle items, and then if we want the active icon, you can see the up arrow is still set for the active icon. But if you want to go ahead and change that, you can change that by selecting active icon and clicking here. We're not going to have to worry about that right now. I just went ahead and removed the other one actually, so we don't even need it. And we're here now with title HTML tag. If you're using specific HTML tags and you've set up certain styles for certain HTML tags, you can go ahead and set that right here. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're not going to talk too much about that. We're going to go on to style and get to stylization of the toggle element. Alright, so we're here on the style tab of our toggle element, and the first option that we have is under the actual toggle settings here. We have the border width. Now this is going to refer to the actual width that is in between the each toggle element. So basically, if you can see here, there's this little gray line that goes across in between each toggle element. You can actually adjust the width here, and as I bring it up, you can see it's definitely more defined there. You can adjust the width, so you can kind of adjust the style here. And remember, if you're going to remove this, if you want it to default back to what it was, highlight the number and delete it out. Now let's say you weren't loving that gray color, you can go ahead and adjust this by clicking here, and you can pick your own color right here. You can see that changes the actual color over to red. Now we now have red in between. You can set this to whatever you would like, or you can set it to one of your global colors by simply clicking this little world global icon here, and you can select your global color right there if you set those up. Now space between is actually going to be the space in between the toggle elements and the border there. So basically how much spacing is between each item there, and remember, if you want to default it, to delete out the number, and that will default it back to what it was. Alright, now box shadow is actually going to be the shadow between each toggle element. Now if we hit edit here, you can see it looks a little bit weird if it's left at its default, which is 0, 0. It just looks a little kind of weird. If you drop the vertical down a little bit, you kind of get this effect where like these are different cards and they're kind of stacked back to back. If that's something you're going for, you can do it here. I would personally probably not add this box shadow. I just think it kind of gives it a weird effect when you don't really need that fancy effect for this Q&A. Let's go over here to title. Now we have background. This is what I changed earlier in the video. This is how you're going to adjust the background of the title section. So if you want to do this, maybe a pretty nice simple color, like a lighter gray right here. That is color code EF. That looks pretty good to me. You can kind of tell here as you click on these, you can see it opens up a new section, but it looks clean enough that it's not going to like clash with any colors or anything like that. And as you can see, the active color for my title right here is set to my accent color, which is that orange. So you want a color that's not going to clash with that, or you can just simply change your active color right here. We could set it to maybe a gray or a black or a white, or depending on what you want it to be. You can do that right there. Also, the color right here is going to refer to the color of the title when it's not active. So as I change this to red, you can see this is going to change all of those colors, and then your active actually got changed as well, so we'd have to set that again there. But basically those are what those two refer to. I'm going to go ahead and clear all of these out. I kind of like how it is default. And let's go on to typography. All right, now like most other elements, typography is going to refer to the font family, the font size, the font weight, if you need to transform it or there's any kind of style or decoration. I leave mine to my default, which is Railway. The size you can adjust depending on how big or small you need it. You could make this very, very big if maybe you were having like that oversized theme across your website and you're looking for really big text. You can also make this a lot smaller to kind of fit in with your theme, whatever you believe. Go ahead and delete out the number if you want to default it. Don't drop it down to 0. Make sure you default it by deleting out the number. Your weight is going to be the thickness of the font. So if we want it really thick, we can add a higher weight like 900. If you want it super thin, you can drop it down to 100. You can see that's way too thin. You can even barely read it, but you can leave it. And normal is just a normal weight, and default is the default weight that it was set at before. Now transform, I prefer to uppercase it. It just goes along with my theme, like my style that I have created throughout my website. But you can select uppercase, lowercase, capitalize, or normal, whatever you would prefer there. Style is normal or italic. I'm just going to leave mine like that. Decoration, if you want this underlined, maybe the underline kind of gives it that feel that people can actually click on it, as opposed to it just being like a sitting list of things like that. I think when it's questions, most people will get the idea that like, hey, you can click on these, but maybe to make them more like links, you can leave the underline there, and people will kind of get that idea. Again, gauge your audience. If your audience is pretty tech savvy and have been on websites, like a lot of websites before where they've seen these, you probably don't need the underline. If you need to make it look like a link so people know to click on it, you could leave the underline there. I'm going to go ahead and just take it off, put it back to default here. Here's your line height. If you are breaking, for example, let's bring this size up here. If you're breaking your text into multiple lines, you can adjust the line height simply by adjusting here, and the letter spacing is going to refer to the distance between each letter. As you can see, as I increase it, it's going to spread out a little bit more. Now to remove those, you simply highlight and delete the numbers, and let's take out the sizing too, and yeah, we're back to default here. All right guys, let's move on to the content section here. Now we have the option to set a background color, and this background color is going to directly affect the background color of the content. So if you want a specific color there, like maybe a darker gray, or maybe you want I don't even know, a white or a black, or maybe a specific color, I don't know, whatever fits kind of your theme and your style for your website, you'll go ahead and make that adjustment right there. And as always, we have the option to set that as a global color if we've predefined global colors in the past. Also, if we want to set the color of the text, we can do that right here. Maybe you want a all black background and you want some white text here. You could do that right there. I'm going to go ahead and just reset these because I think that's going to clash a little bit with my theme and the kind of style that I have here on my website. But if that's what you're looking for, you can do that right there. Typography, we basically have the same exact settings in the other as in title, so I'm not going to go through them here, but these are the settings specific for the content text here. So if we want a certain font family, we can set that right here. If we need a certain size or weight or anything like that, line height, all that good stuff, we can make those changes right there. Now we have padding here, and by default all of these values are linked together, so when I push up on one, it's going to up from both left, right, top, and bottom. So as I push up, you can see it's pushing this number up between all of them, but you can see that adding some padding kind of gives it a nice effect, that it kind of puts it more like in the middle. It gives it more of like that card effect. The higher up you push it though, it gives it like a lot of spacing between the top and left and right and bottom. If you want to unlink these values, you can simply click here, and then you can remove maybe the left, put it down to 0, and maybe the right, put that down to 0, just to really show you what's happening here. So now we only have spacing of 54 pixels at the top and bottom, so down here and up here, but there's nothing on the left or right, so that's why it's kind of getting pushed to the bounds there. So if you need specific specific padding, like on certain sides or certain edges or something like that, you can do that. Otherwise, you keep all the values linked and set that number right there. And of course, to remove it, you just simply highlight one of the values and delete it. You don't want to set it to 0 because 0 would be pushing to all the edges. You want to actually remove it because by default there is some kind of padding set. And you have all your advanced options over here. I'm not going to go through those in this video, but you do have the same advanced options for any other element that you would here in this toggle element as well. Now guys, I really think that this element has the power to convert just a normal visitor into a buying customer by solving their concerns, by reassuring them, helping them feel confident, by answering the questions that they might have in their mind or that they're thinking about before they want to purchase. If you can answer those questions just by simply having a question and answer toggle section for them, and they find it, they get the answer that they're looking for, and they feel confident about it, they're going to convert into a buying customer. So I highly recommend you add this to your website. For whatever service or product or anything that you offer, you can always implement a toggle feature to answer some frequently asked questions. I highly recommend it. So be sure and smash that nice red looking subscribe button if you guys haven't already. I really appreciate it. Join the family. We're growing it nice and big, and you can be notified of upcoming videos just like this one. And if you haven't, guys, Elementor Pro will upgrade your website so much. I highly recommend it. Recommend it to everyone that is building with Elementor. It really is a great price for a drag and drop builder with premium features. So check out that first link in the description below. It is phenomenal. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. That Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale is still going on, so you can hit that link and see what that is up until, I think it is December 2nd, 2020. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.